So, you're looking for a 4K gaming monitor, eh? You're probably thinking, this is gonna be easy. Search up the best 4K gaming monitors, go to Rtings.com, and bang, you got it. But did you know not all top 4K gaming monitors are the same? It's not so simple, is it then? Hey, I'm Nicholas from Rtings.com. Today we're going to compare two premium 4K gaming monitors, the Dell Alienware AW3225QF and the LG 32GS95UE-B. They both have a 32-inch OLED screen with a native 240Hz refresh rate. On paper, it seems like they're pretty similar, but nope, there's one big difference. The LG has a special dual mode feature that switches it to a 1080p resolution with a 480Hz refresh rate. So what does this all mean for you, and which one should you get? Let's talk about that dual mode first. It's actually pretty simple to use. There's a button right under the bottom bezel to use this feature. There are a few advantages to using the 1080p 480Hz mode. One of those being that it's easier for your graphics card to maintain high frame rates with a lower resolution. So this is ideal if you're craving the highest refresh rates possible. Another plus is that the dual mode provides a smoother feel with fast moving content. Even though both monitors have the same near instant response time that OLEDs are known for, there's just less persistence blur in the dual mode on the LG. Sure, they're a lot more similar at a 240Hz refresh rate, but that's what you should expect. On top of that, the LG naturally has lower input lag at 480Hz, but it's actually higher at 60 or 120Hz in the dual mode than in the regular mode. So if you're going to game at low refresh rates, it's better to use the regular mode on the LG because it has lower input lag than the Dell at 60 or 120Hz. Another feature of the LG is that the dual mode actually has settings to change the size of the screen area that you're using. You can either simulate a 24 or 27-inch screen to give it the feel of a dedicated esports gaming monitor, but that just means you'll see black bars on the sides. And really, what's the point of getting a 32-inch screen to use a 24-inch image anyways? The dual mode isn't better in every way though. One of the bigger drawbacks is the image and text clarity. Because the LG has to upscale a 1080p signal on a 4K display, there are some artifacts, and it looks even worse in the 24 and 27-inch modes. But are you really using the 1080p mode to get good text clarity? Probably not. So that's why it's better to compare these two monitors with a 4K resolution. And that's where the LG actually has slightly sharper text. The Dell has some fringing around letters, which is typical of QD-OLEDs like this one. But whether or not this bothers you changes from person to person, and text looks sharp on both displays. In fact, you might actually prefer the Dell if you want a clearer image. This is because it uses a glossy coating, so there's less haziness than on the LG, which uses a semi-gloss or semi-matte finish, whichever way you want to call it. Alright, we're here for gaming, aren't we? So while we know the LG is the better choice for PC gaming at higher refresh rates, they're a lot more similar if you're comparing two 4K 240Hz monitors. They both support all common VRR formats that you can use with any source, including consoles. Speaking of which, neither of them have any compatibility issues with the PS5. Things get a bit more complicated with an Xbox though. While the LG pretty much supports any signal, the Dell doesn't support 1440p at 120Hz at all, and you can only get 1440p at 60Hz with VRR off. Of course, neither of them have issues with 4K signals, but this is something to keep in mind. Plus, the Dell even supports Dolby Vision with an Xbox, or any other source that supports it, but you need to make sure you have the firmware updated for it to work. So while the LG has some advantages for gaming, the Dell pulls ahead when it comes to picture quality. Even though they're both OLEDs, there are still some differences because they use different types of OLED panels. The LG is a WOLED, while the Dell is a QD-OLED. One advantage of a WOLED is that blacks don't look purple in bright rooms like on a QD-OLED, but in a dark room, they both display the same deep, inky blacks with no blooming. On the other hand, an advantage of a QD-OLED is the wide range of vivid colors that it displays in HDR, so your favorite content really pops on the Dell. Plus, the Dell has a lot better accuracy in SDR. It's pretty fantastic in the sRGB mode, and calibrating it doesn't really improve much. So if you want an OLED for some casual content creation, you should definitely consider the Dell. While the LG also has an sRGB mode, colors are still oversaturated, the white balance is off, and Gamut doesn't follow the target curve either. You really need to calibrate it for an accurate image. But the Dell isn't better in all parts of the picture quality. The LG actually gets a bit brighter, but not by much. Neither gets bright enough to fight really intense glare in SDR, but small highlights pop on both in HDR. Just note that they can't maintain this high brightness with larger highlights, which is typical of OLEDs. Plus, they each have various picture modes and settings that you could choose from, so you could adjust the settings how you want in HDR. And the last thing we want to talk about is the famous risk of burn-in that OLEDs are known for. Sure, it can happen on either of these with constant exposure to the same static elements over time with the screen at max brightness. But in reality, it shouldn't if you're changing up what you do, even by playing different games. They both have settings to reduce the risk too. They have a fast cleaning cycle after every 4 hours of use, and the Dell has a longer pixel refresh cycle that takes an hour to complete after every 7,000 hours of use. The LG doesn't have this. Instead, it has a screen move setting that moves the image by a few pixels at a time. You could choose the speed at which it moves, or you could turn it off altogether. So now that we know how they perform, which one should you get? Simply put, it all depends on your needs. If you're going after a pure 4K 240Hz monitor, you're better off going for the Dell because of the better picture quality. The Dolby Vision support is a nice touch for a gaming monitor too. Of course, you have to consider whether or not you want its curved screen, but that's a personal preference. On the other hand, if you want a more versatile display, then the LG is the one for you. The dual mode feature is definitely useful if you sometimes prefer trading image quality for a higher refresh rate. Sure, you could find other high refresh rate esports gaming monitors for less, but the LG is a bit like a 2-in-1 package where you get the best of both worlds. Plus, it has better picture quality than esports monitors with LCD displays. Lastly, there are some minor differences between them that you might want to consider before making a buying decision, like the fact that the Dell doesn't have a typical audio jack, which is disappointing if you want to connect your headphones directly to the monitor. Then again, the Dell supports eARC instead and has some extra USB ports, including USB-C, but it doesn't support DisplayPort Alt mode. So all in all, these are two fantastic gaming monitors, and there's no real winner here. Choosing one over another really depends on what you need. That's all for the comparison between the Dell Alienware AW3225QF and the LG 32GS95UE-B. If you want more details on the monitors, check out our written reviews. The links are in the description below. Until next time, I'm Nicholas from Rtings.com, where we help you find the best product for your needs. Ciao. So you're looking for a 4K gaming monitor, eh? You're probably thinking, this is gonna be easy. Search up the best 4K gaming monitors, go to Rtings.com, and bang, you got it. I should not hit that during the video. And bang.